conquering beautiful Baldy Mountain at the edge of Philmont Scout Ranch and Touch Me Not Mountain, both majestic New Mexico 12K peaks. I left the house at 3:30 a.m. with my friend Jim, and we headed to northern New Mexico to the Cimarron Mountain Range to re-hike Touch Me Not Peak, then Baldy. I was carrying a 13-pound pack, including 5 pounds of water. I've been trying to figure out how to hike Baldy Peak for the last 2 years. The eastern part of the peak is owned by Philmont Scout Ranch. I'm an Eagle Scout and was senior patrol leader of Troop 166 in Albuquerque, so I figured they would let me go from the Philmont Scout Ranch side. They said no for insurance reasons, and anyone hiking it would have to be a current member of BSA. The western part is gated up, and there's not really a way to get close and burn it up the mountain. A very long hike seemed the only option. We headed to Taos, then the little town of Eagle Nest, then east toward Cimarron. A short way into the canyon is a dirt road to the north. We took the fork to the right. You definitely need a four-wheel drive vehicle from this point. We traveled about 5 miles and parked the SUV at the coordinates 36, 33.479 north, 105, 12.16 west. The elevation was about 10,750 feet. We started hiking at 7:25 on a cool, crisp morning. I hiked Touch Me Not Mountain last year and didn't want to have to hike it again, but I couldn't see another way to go to get Baldy Mountain. We hiked down a blocked-off road to the saddle, then up through the forest, through a cumbersome boulder field, then to the top. We reached Touch Me Not elevation 12,044 feet at 9 a.m. after hiking 2 miles. There were some beautiful views to the west, but to the east the clouds looked like a churning sea. We started heading towards Baldy Mountain across the ridge. The clouds got thicker and thicker until we were walking in very dense cloud cover. I'm glad I had my GPS because it would have been easy to get disoriented. We hiked through the boulder fields, dense trees, and open meadows along the ridge. We arrived at Baldy Mountain elevation 12,441 feet at 12:10 after hiking 6 miles. I like to take pictures in all directions from the top of mountain peaks, and all I could get was about 20 feet in each direction because of the dense cloud cover. I have only been in this mountain range twice, and both times it was under dense cloud cover. I was very disappointed I was not able to see the vistas. When I was in Boy Scouts, I hiked and camped all over New Mexico, but never went to Philmont Scout Ranch. I was disappointed that I could not see it from the peak. The peak was cold and misty to the point of filling our hair with fine water droplets. We decided to drop down an elevation back to the timberline to eat lunch. We started heading down, but things looked different. Because of the dense cloud cover, we were starting to go to the wrong ridge line. I used the backtrack and the GPS to get to the right ridge. We made it back down to tree line and had lunch. I was tired of beef jerky, so I brought smoked oysters, crackers, dried fruit, and chocolate. After a 20-minute lunch, we continued on and had to re-hike Touch Me Not Mountain. It was some work to re-hike it. We were a little tired, and it seemed like the mountain range was longer coming back. We continued on in the fog and clouds and arrived back at the car at 5:25. 10 hours of almost non-stop hiking. The total hiking distance was 12.2 miles. We had an up-down elevation gain of 3,695 feet. We headed down the road, and at a certain point, the steering froze up. I was afraid we were going to have to hike out 4 miles, partway in the dark, and call for help. Jim looked under the SUV and saw a large rock lodged in the front axle. I moved the steering wheel as he pushed it out. What a relief. When we got down the mountain and into the town of Eagle Nest, we looked back and saw deep, dark, violent black clouds covering the mountain. We were very glad we were not hiking down the dirt road. After stopping for a quick dinner, we arrived back at 10 p.m.